Hey, what is up, everybody? Mike from Comic Book Fans here. Apologies for the erratic upload schedule. I know Luke's been having problems with his internet, and I've been having problems with my computer, and I've been busy with school. So, anyway, all that to say, we'll be trying to bring you more fun content more regularly coming up, and just so you know, I'm pretty much done. I'm almost done school. So, as soon as I'm done that, you can count on a more regular upload schedule. And I know the algorithm's kicking us in the teeth right now for not uploading enough or regularly. But anyway, let's talk about Shang-Chi. So, first off, I just want to explain my relationship with Shang-Chi, which is very minimal. I think my first introduction to Shang-Chi was in the Spider-Man comics, where I think this was like 5 years ago or so in the Spider-Man comics, where Spider-Man lost his spider sense due to, I think it was Spider Slayer's like spider sense jamming weapon or whatever, and Shang-Chi basically taught him how to use Kung Fu, taught him martial arts to kind of make up for him losing his spider sense. So that's kind of my first introduction to Shang-Chi, and I haven't really had much exposure to him otherwise until this announcement, like 2 years ago now, that Marvel's making a Shang-Chi movie. So I kind of did some more research on him over the last couple years or so, but I'm still not super familiar with him. However, I am pretty familiar with the Mandarin, who's going to be the main villain of this movie, and I think I'm most familiar with him from the old like 90s Iron Man cartoon where he had like the green skin and everything, but that show did do a pretty good job portraying his character and showing his origin, getting the rings from like Fin Fang Foom's ship or whatever. And then, I've obviously seen him from the comics, and then in the animated series Iron Man Armored Adventures. Obviously, that wasn't a very accurate depiction of Mandarin, but he had the rings and he had a pretty dope-ass suit. So, yeah, I've known about the Mandarin for a long time. That's why it was so disappointing seeing, the Mandarin in Iron Man 3, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. So, my main hope for this movie was that it was going to be like a cool martial arts film, because, that's basically... Marvel had a great opportunity to expand their horizons. Like Marvel, for me, they've been a little bit, like, generic lately, and obviously I'm not saying they're bad movies. I like pretty much all of them to a certain extent. I own all of them, so it's not like I'm not a Marvel fan. I just feel like a lot of the Marvel movies have kind of fallen into the same trap, which I'm not saying all the stories are the same and not all the genres are the same. They have done a good job kind of expanding into different genres like heist movies, comedies, all that stuff, like political thrillers. But a lot of the movies kind of fall into the same trap of having the same generic, like, forced humor, jokes, always having to have like 8 comic relief characters, having to have these huge giant CGI fights, which I love CGI fights, but at a certain point you can only see so much of people just CGI people shooting CGI lasers at each other with CGI weapons, with CGI, like everything with CGI gets a little bit old after a while. I think Marvel has lost the sight of actual like good classic filmmaking. Not to sound like Martin Scorsese, but I think they've like gone onto this kind of like too corporatized, too manufactured feel to their movies, which I'm not saying they're bad, but again, I just find their movies kind of falling into those pitfalls. So I was really hoping this movie was going to be different. I was hoping it would be like a really cool martial arts film, because obviously, they're dealing with a martial arts master that can kind of at least sort of be inspired by some of the old like Bruce Lee films and other kung fu type movies. And from the trailer, I am actually really excited. It looks like the special effects, for one thing, are awesome, but it doesn't have the same feel as a lot of Marvel movies. It doesn't have the same, like, I don't know, like, it's hard to explain, but there's sort of a Marvel feel that we've gotten, especially the last, 7 years or so. And it doesn't have that same Marvel feel, which I think is a good thing because it makes it unique. And it also has a lot, it looks like it has some really cool fight scenes, and a lot of them are practical. Like, I know the actor's been talking about how much work he had to do to get these fight scenes down, so I'm really excited to see that. It looks like it's going to be a lot of cool martial arts action, way better than what we saw in Iron Fist. Iron Fist was supposed to be like the first big Marvel martial arts project, and they just... Yeah, this looks like it's going to be very cool. All the casting seems pretty good so far. Like, obviously, it seems like Aquafina is going to be like kind of the comic relief character, but other than that, there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of like in-your-face comedy. It seems like it's got more of a serious tone to it, which I like. There's nothing wrong with a little bit of comedy as long as she doesn't like ham it up too much, or there's too much forced humor. It's going to be pretty cool. It seems like they've changed quite a few things, though, about Shang-Chi. For starters, in the comics, his dad was Fu Manchu, I believe. And in this, it looks like his father is the Mandarin, which is an interesting twist. I know apparently Marvel said they did this because Fu Manchu like kind of was too stereotypical, and when he was written in the comics, he was kind of written as, you know, like an Asian stereotype, and they haven't really done much with his character since then. And, you know, I did have one person on Instagram ask me, well, like, yeah, but how's the name Mandarin any different? And it's true. In the original comics, Mandarin was pretty, like, stereotypical, like, kind of making fun of Chinese people, which wasn't good, which they did a lot in the older comics, you know, not great. But Mandarin has become such like a big Marvel character, big Marvel villain, that they have changed his character over the years to be, you know, to shy away from those stereotypical, you know, kind of racist stereotypes, and they have changed his character for the good. So it makes sense why they would, you know, choose him over Fu Manchu. Also, he's just such a big Marvel villain. You know, they already screwed him up once. Which, speaking of which, you know, I'm sure there, you know, there is kind of this sentiment that like Marvel is planning this the whole time, and you know that makes kind of the whole Mandarin reveal in Iron Man 3 better. I don't entirely disagree. I partially disagree. I mean, I partially agree in that it is clear Marvel had like some sort of plan of the real Mandarin was out there. Like there was a Marvel one shot that came out. I think it came out with like the Thor 2 DVD, which you know, came out like right after Iron Man 3, a few months after Iron Man 3. So, you know, it seems like they did plan, you know, it was like this Marvel one shot where Trevor Slattery was in prison, and then like the actual 10 rings showed up, and it was, you know, they're saying, you know, Mandarin doesn't appreciate you using his name. So it does seem like they did plan on having the real Mandarin exist, but I don't think they didn't necessarily plan ahead, like, you know, however many, like, what's it been like, almost 10 years since Iron Man 3. I don't think they planned that far ahead. Like, obviously they do plan ahead, but I don't think they plan that far ahead where they're like, well, you know, we have Trevor, this fake Mandarin in Iron Man 3, but in the Shang-Chi movie we're gonna have Mandarin, you know. So I think that they're gonna be retconning things a little bit, you know. So I still think it was kind of a dumb decision to have fake Mandarin in Iron Man 3. Like, I've gotten over it a little bit, but at the same time, I think it was a wasted opportunity to have him face off against Iron Man. Plus that whole reveal where, like, Aldrich Killian was like, I'm the Mandarin. That's still pretty stupid. But anyway, I'm just glad we're finally getting the real Mandarin. Now, there's a difference here. It seems like, from what I hear here, it seems like Fin Fang Foom is supposed to be in this movie. I'm guessing it's going to tie in with the origin of the 10 rings, the actual 10 rings, which, as we know in the comics, Mandarin's 10 rings each have, like, some special power, like mind control, energy projection, yada yada. He uses them to fight Iron Man, and then they're actual rings that go on his fingers. Seems like in this, for some reason, they have changed it and made them like armbands. So they're more like bracelets. So I guess they're technically still rings. But I don't know why they've done this, because I know in the Trevor Slattery version of Mandarin had the rings on his fingers, which looked pretty cool. And, you know, everyone was like, man, I can't wait to see them in action. And then, you know, things happened. But for some reason, they're making them armbands, which is interesting. For one thing, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense if, you know, they were kind of trying to copy the Mandarin. Why would they give him the rings unless they, like, misunderstood? Secondly, I mean, I guess it makes sense to 10 rings instead of 10 bracelets, you know. I'm guessing they're doing it because it make it less cheesy or something, because maybe there's some sort of, like, you know, maybe it would feel a little bit cheesy to have, the, like, rings instead of armbands. But I still don't understand why they've made this decision entirely. You know, it does look like it's going to be pretty cool. You know, we've seen like a small shot in the trailer where it seems like he's using his powers, the little armband, the glow blue or whatever. But it's just kind of an odd decision in my opinion. I don't think having 10 bracelets is like that much cooler or more practical than having 10 rings. But I don't know. Maybe they'll explain it in the movie. Maybe the director or Kevin Feige or somebody will explain it by the time the movie comes out. But I think it is an odd change. I don't care that much. Like, cause what I really want to see is the Mandarin having superpowers. So, I guess we'll see. Also, it seems like they have, I believe Kevin Feige said that Shang-Chi will have special abilities in this, which he has had varying special abilities in the comics, apparently, like Mastery of Chi and all this other stuff. So, it's hard to tell what powers he's going to have. They're probably going to be like a little bit off the comics, but it'll still be interesting. He's still going to rely heavily on his martial arts. So anyway, all that to say, Shang-Chi looks awesome. That teaser looks awesome. If you haven't seen it, please check it out. It's really cool. It's definitely what I was hoping it would be, and I hope the next trailers kind of solidify that, and then I hope the movie itself is what I was hoping, just a really cool martial arts film with obviously some mystical stuff, but something that kind of, I feel like Marvel needs to do something a little bit different. Given they've had so many movies come out, and I think this is, you know, an opportunity to do some cool, like, martial arts, kung fu, Bruce Lee-esque movie, kind of branch out a little bit. So, not to mention this is the first, like, Asian superhero lead we have had in the, like, really any superhero movie as far as I can remember. I might be wrong, but I think so. Obviously we have had Wong, but we haven't had any, front and center Asian characters. So that's pretty damn cool too. Especially, I'm sure a lot of, people who are looking for that kind of representation are happy about that. I have a friend from China, and he was really excited about it. So, yeah, really cool. I think Marvel really has an opportunity to do something really cool with this. And frankly, this movie and Spider-Man 3 are the movies I'm most looking forward to this year, I'd say. And then that and Doctor Strange, those two and Doctor Strange are definitely the Marvel movies I'm looking forward to most. But yeah, anyway, thanks so much for watching, everybody. Be sure to subscribe, hit like, and check out our other videos. We upload weekly, but, obviously, like I said earlier, I haven't been uploading as regularly. And check out our Instagram. Most of our content's on there. Check out the Facebook group, podcast, all that jazz. All the links are in the description. And we will see you all later. Peace out.